So I thought I'd talk a little bit about assignment sales this morning. It's a topic I haven't touched with this office yet. I don't know. I know this office does a lot of pre-con. So I'm sure you have a lot of clients that want to assign. I don't know how many buyers you guys are working with for assignment sales. How many of you have gone through an assignment sale before? So they can be really confusing. Sometimes even I get caught up in the numbers. It's different every deal depending on what they've already put down with the builder, what the costs are involved. So we're just going to go over some basics today. I find listing an assignment has been a confusing thing in this office because we have a lot of our clients buying pre-con because there's, like I said, there's so much pre-con being sold in this office. Though I find a lot of us are listing an assignment and they don't know what paperwork to use and stuff like that. So it's just going to be like a basic start on assignment this morning. If you guys have any specific questions you want me to address, just let me know. But I'm going to go over this. I'm going to share my screen here so you guys can follow along. Where did it go? All right. So usually an assignment sale you see is when you buy a pre-construction condo and you're looking to sell before you take possession, right? So an assignment sale is when a seller sells their interest in the property before they take possession, right? Which means that they have a contract directly with the builder. You're purchasing from the builder. And then when you assign the property, you're not actually selling the property because you don't own it yet. Right. So that's why we don't call it like a sale of the property. You call it an assignment sale because you're assigning essentially your contract with the builder, and you're not selling the actual property itself because it hasn't been built yet. And there's no like legal description. There's no deed to it. The city hasn't, acknowledged that it exists yet. So you're just essentially selling a contract. So they're selling their promise to purchase it along with the rights and obligations for their original agreement of purchase and sale. So there's a lot to go over with a little bit. You have to go have a lawyer definitely on your buyer's side because it's not just our regular purchase and sale agreement. Like I say, we're pretty proficient when it comes to agreement of purchase and sales, even if it's not on our OREA contracts. A lot of times we can read other clauses and see what's going on and understand those clauses. But you guys know that those builder contracts are pretty fat. There's a lot of legalese in them. So make sure that your buyer has some time to review with their lawyer. You put a clause in for them that they're going to review the builder contract that they're purchasing from the assigner, right? So here again, we get caught up in the verbiage because on the paperwork, it's assigner and assignee. So the original purchaser is the assigner, right? And hold on, just letting people into our meeting here. So the original purchaser is the assigner and the new buyer of that contract is the assignee. Okay, so the assignee is the one who will complete the transaction with the builder at the end of the day. And when I show you the paperwork that we go over for when you purchase an assignment sale, you'll see that verbiage on our contracts, right? Because a lot of people go, oh, I don't know who to put where, who's the buyer, who's the seller, right? Because essentially the assigner is the buyer, original buyer. So it's kind of like a buyer, right? So assignments only happen with pre-construction condos. So this is very confusing because I have seen assignment sales that aren't pre-construction condos. So for instance, say you have a client who purchased a property, resale residential, you can assign that contract. Now you don't see it that often because very often we don't include clauses in our contracts to say that we can assign the contracts going forward. So say I purchased a regular resale residential home. If my client was worried about something that they might, I might get a transfer in a couple months and I'm not sure if it's going to go through. Or if they said to me, even if they said to me, hey, I might want to change this to my corporation name and put this in my corporation name later. Do you think that's possible? Or even if they say, we're not sure who's getting the mortgage, me or my wife, right? Make sure you're putting assignment clauses in your regular residential resale contracts, because if you don't have the right to sign. You can't just change it. It is up to the seller whether they want to grant you that permission. So like I say, we do see assignments happen with resale, regular everyday resale for different reasons. And we take for granted that when we do that regular residential resale and we approach the seller and say, hey, we need to add the wife's name, or we need to take the husband's name off and use, the aunt's name instead because they're not getting approved for the mortgage, that seller doesn't have to say yes. So if you have any kind of indication that your client might run into that situation, put an assignment clause in your contract. If you need one, I have one. It's a good one. I use it. Just in conversation with my clients, if they mentioned that they might want to switch to their company name or something like that, or their corporation. But most of the time when we talk assignment, we're thinking regular, pre-construction, that's you're assigning the contract. Okay. But it is possible with residential resale. So why will someone want to assign a condo? What are the reasons we're doing this, right? So often with pre-construction sales, the closing date is quite far away. We know it's normally a couple of years away. So the first thing that comes up is that a lot of times people's situation changes. So they might get a job transfer, or they might lose their job, or maybe they just had a baby and now this 1-bedroom condo they purchased isn't right for them. A lot of times what happens though is they purposely buy pre-construction because they're investing their money and they want to make money on the sale in between. Right. So it's financial gain at the end of the day. It's a lucrative way to make some money, because we always know from phase one, when you first purchase a pre-con to the time that they go through their other phases or they break ground, those condos that they're selling now are now worth a lot more, and you're making money over time. So when you assign it, you can make that money in between with essentially not even really doing anything, just holding the contract and paying the deposits as the deposit structure states. Right. So, it's really common for investors, and we see a lot. Maybe that's why we're seeing a lot of pre-con now. Like I say, this office has been pretty busy with pre-con, and I've been trying to bring you guys some projects there, because there is a lot of money floating around. People have a lot of equity in their properties right now, and they just want to do something with that. So pre-con is definitely a popular way to invest that money, and make a little profit by assigning it. Okay. So what can be negotiated in an assignment sale? So regular residential resale, we know we negotiate the price, the closing date. These aren't common things that you can negotiate necessarily with an assignment. There is a little wiggle room, but normally closing date is not something that this assigner has control over. Right? Because you're taking over the original purchaser's contract, you can't really renegotiate the price that they actually purchased the condo with the builder. And you can't negotiate that closing date because that's up to the builder's building schedule and when they actually close. And very often the builder's contract, the agreement of purchase and sale, as we know, will have escape clauses to push that closing date a little bit if they're behind in the construction, right? So they might have like a tentative closing date and then, say, oh, well, we have the right to let you know 60 days ahead of time that we're going to extend it 3 months, 6 months, whatever it says in their contract, right? In most cases, the assignee will mirror the deposit that you made to the builder. So if you made a 20% deposit, you can expect the new purchaser to do the same, right? So they're going to cover whatever deposit you have in with the builder already. Most sellers of assignments are looking to make a profit, and part of the assignment sale negotiation is agreeing on the price. So your real estate agent, that's us, can guide you on the price, which will determine your profit or loss. Hopefully you're not taking a loss, because the whole point of this game is to make a little bit of money, right? So hopefully it's not a situation where your client is now all of a sudden has twins and the market's really gone down and they're not going to be able to sell it for what they purchased it for. But it does happen. I've seen it happen. Builder approval and fees. So we should, like I say, whenever I talk about status certificates and assignment sales and stuff like that, I always encourage you guys that you really should be familiar with how to read contracts and skim them and at least know, oh, hold on, I think I might have a question here too. At least know how to read some of the stuff that's going on. Why does a seller have to make the same deposit? Not the seller, the purchaser, the assignee. So the assigner has given a certain deposit. At the very least, the assignee has to match that deposit. Otherwise, they are automatically losing money right off the bat, right? And not only that, in order to hold in place that contract with the builder, it's, yeah, no worries. Then they're going to have to, that's okay. They're going to have to make that same deposit, right? So back to the contract, the builder contract, you're gonna want to make sure that you know how to find certain things in the contract. You have to be knowledgeable with these documents. So the first thing, whether they come to you for a list or a purchase, is, are you allowed to sign? Are you allowed to assign the contract? Some builders do not allow you to assign the contract. They don't want a high turnover happening. They don't necessarily want, maybe it's a small project with like 10 detached homes and they don't want the people to assign the contract, right? Because they don't want to see, necessarily that all that turnover and all that paperwork happening in between. I don't know, different builders have different reasons, right? Usually there is an assignment clause, okay? But the builder knows that you're making money and they definitely want to make money too. Plus they have to redo their contract. So there is an amount of admin that they have to do. So your agreement of purchase and sale stipulated your rights to assign the contract. You have to be able to go into there and read it. Most builders allow assignments, and there's usually a fee associated with that. So here they're giving an example. You've seen everything from 750 to 7,000. So say, as an agent to your investor client, when you're purchasing a pre-con condo or something like that with the builder, sometimes, not always, you can try and negotiate these fees. So I find builders are getting really savvy these days. Before, when we used to negotiate pre-con, we could go and we could, talk about capping the levies. Well, now they already say, oh, the levies are capped. So there's not a lot of wiggle room, but you can ask them, especially if you're purchasing early on or it's not a crazy sold out project, you can negotiate. You can say, well, I want the assignment fee lowered, or I want it nixed, whatever the case may be. These are all points of the contract that you can negotiate, but there is always a fee associated, usually, if they allow it. So it can be costly. Usually you don't see 7,000, but it's not unheard of to see 2,500. 2,500 is pretty common, I see. And there may be additional requirements as well. So the most common being that the builder has to approve the assignment. So just like when your purchaser purchased the pre-con, they might have asked for a pre-approval letter from the bank. They might ask for a bank one instead of just a mortgage agent one. The assignee may also have to go ahead and get that approval letter and be screened from the builder. With all the freaking out covered, like capped levies, what other incentives can we use to make our projects stand out? Okay, so what do you mean our project? You mean ones that we're getting allocations for, or ones that we have access to? So here's what I've been trying to ask.
Sorry, can I just say it?
Yeah. Tell me exactly what you're asking. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, like, a lot of builders nowadays, like, they do this where it's like, oh, cap levies, free assignment, all that stuff, right? And then my clients will email me about those projects, and I just don't have we don't have allocations to like every single project, right?
Oh God, there's so many out there. If you're interested in
exactly. Like, it's getting really insane, and it's getting very hard to, like, I'm driving all over like London and Brampton and stuff trying to get like allocations.
Call me and let me know if you guys need access to certain projects. So I have started to make a lot of calls and get in touch with a lot of people. And so if you guys need certain projects, like your client's really asking, let me try, because I might have somebody that I know or have contact with that builder. And try and get in, and I'll make phone calls to try to get us some access for it.
A lot of these projects, sorry to cut you off, like I was just mentioning, because like, for instance, a project in Brampton, like they just don't cooperate with brokers.
Well, right, like SOL. So like some of these big builders like Mattamy, they don't cooperate with brokers because they know they're going to put their project out and sell to the public, sold out, no problem. They don't
exactly. So like, how can I turn my like, what are some good incentives to turn like those clients over from?
You have to do your research for what's in the area. So I find Condo Now is a really good resource. If you guys don't have a profile on Condo Now, go on and do it, because it works a lot like Stratus, but there's access to all the pre-con that's on there. And as much information that's out already, they'll tell you what the commission is, what the deposit structure is. There'll be floor plans if they're released, right? And when you send an email to your client directly from there, it's your information at the bottom, as long as your profile is set up properly on Condo Now. So go on www.condonow.com and make yourself a profile. And what I would do is, if I had a client really interested in a project that wasn't cooperating, unless it was do or die, if there was other projects in the area that I thought were like comparable, I would send them those from Condo Now. And I would say, hey, you know, yeah, that's great. Okay, check out Mattamy. I can't really help you on that one. They're not cooperating, but here, you know, there's these 3 other projects in Brampton, and this one's really close to the highway. I think the situation of it's better, or it's closer to amenities, or, you know, they have bigger balconies or lower maintenance fee per square foot, or the cap levies, or whatever the case may be. You have to do a little bit of research and find out what are the benefits of that project over the one that they're picking, maybe, if you want to sway them to like go to another project that is cooperating to help you out, right?
Okay, thank you. And do you know some builders that maybe we should stay away from, or like go towards, like for instance, Mattamy Homes, like they don't
don't
cooperate
cooperate.
with brokers, and then but Tridel does, right? Like
Yeah.
Tridel not only cooperates, they cooperate very well, right? So
Yeah.
do you know some other builders that maybe I could keep an eye out for or stay away from or something?
It really, there's so many out there, and there's so many
Yeah.
thousands of projects. If you're on condo now,
Like it's getting
go
so
through.
confusing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you're like, if you say if your client's looking in Brampton, just focus on Brampton and get yourself familiar with like what's coming up now, what's closing soon, what's already out, what has floor plans, what's debuting soon. Maybe there's some ones that are bringing out floor plans soon that might be exciting for your clients. You just have to go on there. There's so many thousands of projects on there. And even though it's condo now, I keep on telling everybody over and over, when they're coming in here and they go, well, what about the freehold? There's freehold on there too. There's freehold towns. There's detached homes on there. It's called condo now because they really started with that, but I mean, it's a really good resource to use. So go on and make a profile. And like I say, when you send emails to your clients from it, it does have your profile on there. It says, you know, like Christine Boland, Remax Ace, right? And it has all that information when you send it to your client. So it's not like you're promoting somebody else or directing them somewhere else. It's coming from you. And it's a really good resource. We have a resource in Stratus for pre-con, and I'll show you guys in a little bit. I was going to try and touch on that as well. It's just, it's not that great. I always go to condo now. I find more information on there, especially since they put up the floor plans and they put up proper deposit structures, amenities, different things, incentives they might have. It's good. It's a good resource.
Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so the next big thing you want to check is if you are listing, even if you're purchasing, because a lot of us like to market when we purchase something for our clients, but I find the list side is obviously where we heavily market most of the time. Some pre-cons won't let you do it. So if your client comes to you and says, you know, hey, I want to assign this agreement of purchase and sale for this condo I purchased, the builder might have a restriction. They won't let you post it on MLS or advertise online, which is going to make it extremely difficult for you guys to sell, because you know Stratus is our lifeline. That's how we push it out to literally thousands and thousands of people, well, millions actually, right? Because then it pops up on realtor.ca, and basically anybody who has internet has access to that listing. So you definitely, after you're going to see, hey, am I allowed to do an assignment sale and how much is it going to cost? The next part of the contract you want to skim. So the first thing I always ask my client is I say, give me your contract with your builder, because I want to read it. I don't want any surprises trying to list it and work on it and then realize that halfway through I can't assign it, right? Or that there's some kind of marketing restriction. And if you throw it up on Stratus, you'll get fined, right? Because the builder hasn't allowed you to do that. So you want to make sure that you're able to throw it up on MLS and advertise online, because again, like I say, it's our lifeline. We all know an exclusive listing is definitely more difficult to sell than MLS. Not impossible, but it definitely takes a lot more legwork, and we don't get that mass exposure, right? Yeah, so oh, the other thing is, aside from you getting in trouble for it, and aside from you getting fined or, you know, in trouble for putting up that listing on MLS, a lot of builders write into their contract that, like, if they go and they put it up online, and that they get to keep their deposit. So you might also be damaging your client by putting it up on MLS, and then the builder keeps your client's deposit. You better believe your client's going to come after you for that deposit that's now stuck with the builder. So make sure that what the marketing restrictions are in your assignment sale and go through that contract, right? So how can I find a buyer? So the realtors who specialize in assignment sales, I know that I've hooked up with realtors that are like, oh, I have this assignment, I have that assignment, I have this guy looking here, that, whatever. A lot of people do that. But like I say, it is definitely easier if you can throw it up on MLS, just like any other listing, right? What are the tax implications of a real estate assignment? So they would basically be very similar to when your client is selling an investment property, secondary property. So the profit from that could be added to their income and taxable for that year. But any loss can be written off against it, right? Again, don't give them full advice, but at least have a basic knowledge of it. I always say, I think that, if you make, 100 grand on this, it'll be added to your income, you'll be taxed on it, but double check with your accountant and see what the tax implication is and see if there's anything you can write off against it, right? The new buyer will be responsible for paying land transfer tax and any HST that might be due. Okay, so that's important because everybody's like, who's paying what? It's a little confusing. How much does it cost to assign a pre-construction condo? So in addition to builder assignment fees, you likely have to pay real estate commissions because of course we're not doing this for free. We got to get paid at the end of the day, and legal fees. But the thing you want to warn your client is, so normally we quote, if it's a regular resale, you have one mortgage on it, it's probably around the $1,500 mark for your lawyer. But if you have, you did a refi and now you have two mortgages to close out and your purchase, and if it becomes a little complicated, it might be more. Assignment fees definitely cost a little bit more because they're more complicated. There's more numbers to go through. So you can expect your lawyer to charge you a little bit more to close an assignment deal. So you might want to be able to warn our clients of that, right? How does the closing of an assignment work? So a lot of people get confused with this because there's two closes that are going to happen, right? So with an assignment sale, there are essentially two closings, the closing between the assigner and the assignee. So we're going to have this agreement. I'm going to say, you know what, I need 15 days to review this with my lawyer, do my due diligence, make sure that I can move around the funds to replace your deposit, whatever the case may be. And then once that happens, the builder needs to approve me, and I need to get my pre-approval letter to the builder, and now my buyer can close, the assigner can close with the assignee, right? So that's one closing that can happen, right? Sorry, I'll just read this in case I didn't forget anything. With the first closing, the original purchaser receives the deposit, any profit from the assignee. So that's also what happens. So any profit that the assignee is getting, that the assigner is getting from the assignee will happen at that close. Okay, so that's above and beyond the original purchase, right? Because don't forget, the assigner hasn't got a mortgage on this property yet, so there's no mortgage to pay out on the entirety of the property. The assignee is simply going to take over the deposit structure with the builder, right? Oh, there we go. The assignee is going to take over the deposit structure with the builder and cover that cost. But obviously the assigner is not doing this for free. They want to make some money. So say on top of the 20% deposit, this person is making $50,000 by assigning the sale. So that 50 now gets dispersed to the assigner. The contract is now with the assignee. The assignee has the 20% deposit with the builder and is now responsible to get the mortgage for that property at the end of the day, right? So the second closing that happens is when the builder is finished building the building and they give the new purchaser, the assignee, occupancy to the condo or the pre-con, whatever they bought, condo, detached, whatever it is. So that would be, that they pay out the remaining amount to the builder, usually with the help of a mortgage, and pay the land transfer tax. The title of the property transfers from the builder to the assignee at this point. So whoever purchased the contract, right? And then it says here, I suppose there could be a third closing too when the buyer takes possession of the property, but doesn't just own it. So a lot of people get confused if you don't do a lot of pre-construction. There's this period of time called occupancy. So occupancy is a time essentially that I hate to say paying rent, but you're paying an amount to the builder. It usually is pretty close to what your mortgage amount is, I find. And you don't actually own the property. So none of that money is going into your pocket because you don't have a mortgage on the property yet. Why don't you have a mortgage? Because there's no official title to the property. So if the city has not deeded, even though the building is built, it takes time, the city doesn't do things the quickest with all the red tape. It takes time for them to actually deed that property. So until there is a title that you can have your name attached to, there is a period called occupancy, and it could be 6 months, could be a year, where you are paying towards the builder. You get your key, it's yours essentially, but your name is not on that title yet. So because there is no name on title, the mortgage company cannot fund you, because what are they funding? not like it's a nothing that they're funding at this point. So you kind of fall into a little period of occupancy where you're paying and you occupy and you pay the builder, like I say, it's pretty roughly close to what your mortgage would be. And you're paying your condo fees and roughly what the taxes would be. Against the taxes haven't been assessed since the building hasn't been deeded yet, right? The timing of the assignment will dictate who completes the interim occupancy. So it depends when you assign the sale. Like, am I in the middle of occupancy right now as the assigner and I've already done 3 months of it, then maybe I assign it to you and you only have to do 3 months of it. It all depends. If I assign it way ahead of that, then the assignee would have to do the whole occupancy period. Okay. So I'm sure you guys might get asked assignment versus resale. Good to know, to be, educate our clients, which is better. So the pros of assigning versus waiting: you get your deposit back and lock in your profit sooner, right? You avoid paying land transfer taxes, avoid paying HST, maximize your return if prices are declining and expect them to continue to decline, and lifestyle. Sometimes it just makes sense to move on. The cons of assigning versus waiting: the pool of buyers for assignment sales is much smaller than the pool of buyers for resale properties, which could result in the sale taking a long time, getting a lower price than you waited, or both. So if any of you have ever had a listing for an assignment sale, it does take longer. It's not one of these things where even in a hot market like this, it gets scooped up so quickly. It might sit there for a while, right? Marketing restrictions are annoying and reduce the chances of finding a buyer. So they can be, especially if your if your builder for your seller puts up no listing on online or no listing on MLS. That kind of really prohibits like what our pool of buyers is. It really what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, it really doesn't give us much options because we can't go appeal to all those people on realtor.ca. It's a powerful tool that we have access to, right? Price, what is the market value? So if any of you ever had an assignment sale, this is a difficult thing, especially if you're one of the first few, or especially if there's a bunch up and they haven't sold. So a lot of times you get into this assignment period where you see a lot of people are going, oh, I'm supposed to close in 6 months. I better put this up for an assignment sale. And you don't know what to price it at. The pricing strategy is difficult, right? Because there haven't been any registered sales, and it can be difficult to determine what that property is worth for sure, right? Assignment sales can be complicated, so you want to make sure that you're working with an agent like us who's experienced with this assignment sales. Come to me if you're muddling through your assignment sale. Sometimes, like I say, if it's a crazy contract from the builder, even I have to muddle through it, but we'll figure it out together. I've done enough of them to be able to at least help you out as best I can. But definitely come to me and let's go through it, because I think people get stuck up in the numbers a lot. People get stuck up in the contracts a lot. And a lot of the agents I find aren't asking for that contract from the builder with their clients. That's the first thing you want to ask for, because you need to go and see exactly how you have to navigate this sale before you take it on, and agree with them that you're going to sell it, or agree with them that you're going to buy it, and agree what the commission is, right? So does anybody have any questions to that point so far? Let me stop the share here for a second. If I can, there we go. Too many things open on the screen. Everybody good so far? Right? So if you are listing an assignment sale, I'll just go share my screen now. I'm going to go onto Stratus for a minute here. Where's my Stratus screen? There we go. Okay, so if you are listing an assignment sale, you're going to use just the regular kit. There's no specific assignment listing package that you're going to use. So you can just come here. Hold on, I got too many things open on my screen. All right, so if you come here, you're just going to go and you're going to type in your assignment, whatever it is. I can spell today, assignment test, right? Whatever. The template you're going to choose is whether it's it might be a freehold, it might be condo, whatever you're doing for pre-con, and you're just going to use the regular for sale listing. Okay. So it's regular paperwork, regular listing agreement you're signing, and you don't have to use anything crazy special. Keep in mind, there's a couple of things. So, sometimes it's confusing what you're selling, because If there might only be like I don't know, I've seen ones where it's not very clear, where it's like, I bought lot 23, but I don't know exactly how to define what I'm trying to think of an example I used recently, like the exact address isn't there 100%, right? Another one I came across recently was when we were talking about the maintenance fees. So a lot of times when you're loading the listing, it might say maintenance fees estimated to be 62 cents per square foot. Okay. If that happens, I've seen, if you go and you online, actually here, let me try and find one. If you go online, you see a lot of people put 0. This is actually incorrect. Because I realize that TREB is cracking down a lot, and you will get a notification from them to fix it. I'll just show you exactly what I mean. What they want you to do is they want you to put how much the maintenance fees are estimated to be, and then they want you to put in the remarks that it's an estimate. Okay, so let's try and find an example of one done correctly and one done incorrectly. So I'm just going to try and find one here. Also, if you're looking, just while we're doing it now, I'm just going to show you, if I'm looking for an assignment sale of a pre-con, I'm going to go in here, and normally what I do is I go to how old the property is. So I'm going to put new, right? And then I'm going to click submit, right? Because a lot of times if it's new, hasn't been built yet, sometimes new means it's just new and nobody's lived in it yet, depending on how the agent has done it. So let's find one that definitely looks like it hasn't been built yet. That's been built, it's been built. Okay, we're going to say this one hasn't been built yet. So they're saying $120 maintenance fee. Let's just read quickly here. Free condo fees for 1 year. Oh, that's good. See, this is an assignment sale. Everybody see that here in the extras? Let me highlight my mouse here. I know everybody can see in the office what I'm doing on the screen, but not necessarily you guys online. So you see here where it says this is an assignment sale. Occupancy estimated to be August 2022. So it's not quite built yet, not move-in ready. And this person should have said taxes and maintenance fees. Okay, taxes and maintenance fees have not been assessed yet. So they've kind of done a good job of it. But I think that the wording that TREB wants you to put in there is that this is an estimate and it hasn't been assessed yet. So, but make sure you're doing this. So I would say this person has done a good job of listing this assignment sale, because they've put in, clearly it's an assignment sale. They put in the occupancy. They've put in that the taxes and maintenance fees haven't been assessed yet, but in the remarks here, they put the estimated maintenance, right? A lot of people, more often than not, are putting in 0. Of course, now I'm going to say I can't find it. There we go. Here's an example. 0, right? Assignment sale, interim closing date. Let's see if they say anything. Property tax and condo fee not yet assessed. That is fine because they put not yet assessed, but this 0 here is not allowed by TREB. Okay, you have to put what the estimate amount is. So if they estimated that it was 62 cents per square foot and your condo that you're selling is 552 square feet, you have to do the math and put the maintenance fee in there. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're listing it. For purchases, there is different paperwork. So it all just depends. What are you doing? Are you purchasing a resale condominium, for instance? You have to use Form 150. So assignment of purchase and sale condominium. Okay, let's just find an agreement to show you quickly what it looks like. So for the most part, most of the form looks the same. Again, if you're filling it out and you get confused, come and ask me. But you know, the assignee, the assigner, so remember we went over that again. Hopefully you guys remember, the assignee is the one purchasing the contract. The assigner is the one who originally purchased from the builder, right? So you're gonna, just like you would on our regular resale, buyer, seller, okay? Buyer's name, seller's name. And then you're going to put the, you know, the different information that we would normally put, what level it's on, the purchase price, the deposit. See, a lot of it looks the same. A, B, and C, you see it automatically includes B and C in this. I'll show you why at the end, right? Has some extra assignment clauses that TREB has written in there. or Oria is written in there, sorry, on our forms. Okay. And scroll down to the bottom real quick. Don't want to run out of time here. Schedule A, you'd put in your regular clauses that you would there. I have a bunch of assignment clauses as well if you guys are doing it. So here, this is where it looks a little different from our regular resale. Assignment of agreement and purchase sale condominium, Schedule B, right? So here you're going to put in the total purchase price, including the original agreement, purchase and sale, and this assignment agreement. So I purchased, I'm going to just use quick numbers. I purchased the property for 100,000, right? That's the original agreement of purchase and sale, but I'm selling it now for 150, right? So that's the total purchase price, right? The purchase price of an agreement of purchase and sale is indicated in Schedule C. So Schedule C is from the, it's from the builder, sorry, yeah. And then the deposits paid by a signer to the seller. So how much deposit has the assigner put in? 20%, whatever that 20% may be. So in this case, say 20,000, right? And that's what the assignee is gonna cover for the assigner now towards the builder, right? And then you're just gonna go payment to assignee, payment by assignee to assigner for this assignment agreement, deposit paid under this assignment agreement, and the balance of the payment for this assignment agreement. Okay, so that's where this form differs, and you have to use this one. It's 150 for condos, 145 for residential, for freehold, pre-con, but either way, there's going to be that extra sheet that we don't normally see with the breakdown of what the deposit structure is and what the purchase price is, and just to make it a little clear because it gets confusing. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Have you guys navigated through this before? I know you had, I'm going to call you out there, Saraf, you had a pre-con assignment listing. How's it going with that?
So she decided not to just hold on to it because honestly, the way that the market is going, like she's better off, because I was asking her, so once she sells that, like, what is she going to do with the money? And she said she just wants to invest it in another project. And then, like, I mean, if she's going to do that, she might as well just keep the one, because it's, it was a really good location and everything. So.
Okay, well, I mean, if it's a good location, but I mean, it's not, she could have made some money and then reinvested her money in something else, right? And
so that's the issue, because the way that the prices are going, she got, this is in Markham and Denison, and she got a 1-bedroom place for like $564. Whereas like, she's not going to get that price anywhere right now. Like even with her profit and stuff, like she can't, like I said, I was trying to get her to invest in the garden series, and then the prices are impossible. So we can't.
But does anybody else assigned over there in her location? Are they selling for a lot more?
They're not selling for a lot more right now. That's another issue as well, because we weren't able to get that much of a price. The prices are going up for 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom places.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like the 1-bedroom places, the prices are like, it didn't go up that much. It didn't go up enough for her to like make a profit. Like, it didn't work out that way. Yeah.
So you make a really good point. So you make a really, really good point. Something to mention. I don't know if you guys heard what Saraf said there, that, the prices are going up for the 2 and 3 bedrooms. If your client is purchasing for a pre-con and they're purely purchasing it for resale value. Now, this isn't always everywhere. So like maybe in the downtown core where there's lots of single professionals, commuting every day, like walking back and forth, they want to be in that like downtown bustling location. Yeah, the 1-bedrooms will fly, but you find very often for resale, the 2 bedrooms and the 3 bedrooms, the bigger units sell for more. So I might say to my client purchasing a pre-con, it's 700,000 for the 1+1 or the 1-bedroom, whereas it might be 750 or 780. If they're able to push their budget, if they're able to cover it, if they're able to get the mortgage for it, as long as they qualify, I would say for resale value, even though maybe you don't need the space right away, or you want to assign this just purely for profit, purchase a 2-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 2-washroom or 3-bedroom kind of thing. They do go faster than the 1 bedrooms. So it's a really good point,
Yeah,
Sarah.
for sure. Even in
So-
so I purchased another pre-con for my client in a new market, and it's a
Yeah.
townhome, and he just bought it like 6 months ago, and
Yeah.
it's already like gone up in price about 100K.
Yeah, absolutely. You find
So
you make
that
more money
one-
on those things for sure.
That one, if anything, I was telling him to sell it, and then he's like, no, because this is gonna go up, and I mean, he's right. So
Like, hang on to it for dear life. Yeah.
yeah, well, he got a good, like, that's a good one, you know, like the it's a 3 bedroom, 2 washroom. It is a stacked townhome, but it doesn't matter. Like I said, the price still went up. So
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so definitely get into some of it, guys. It's fun. It's a good way to make money. I find pre-con is really fun because you might have to wait a little longer sometimes for your commission, but you kind of forget, oh, I sold 2 or 3 in that building, in that project, and then all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of commission at once. So it's like it is definitely something fun to get into. If you, like I say, please let me know if there's any specific projects you want to try to get into, if you have a lot of clients asking for it, because then I can go up to these builders a lot and say, hey, you know, I have 2, 3 agents in my office asking me, give me some access to this project, right? I have Cortel coming in, I think, but they're just trying to wait till the next phase of what's their project called? They're the Abeja. They're waiting till the next phase is a little bit closer. They're hoping end of spring, beginning of summer. They're going to come in and chat with us and give us some access to that project. So that's exciting. I don't know if you guys have seen their projects there, Oak and Company, coming up in Oakville. I really like the look of their new buildings coming out. They're just funky. I'm liking that builder a lot. So hopefully when we get some access to the next phase of the Abeja project, we can sell some of that. And just working on anything else we can get. We have Garden Series 2, you know, and let me know what's going on, guys. Keep in touch. Text me. You don't even have to make a phone call. Just shoot me a text. It's actually good if it's on my phone. Then I remember it. I can try and reach out to those builders for you guys to help you with your clients. Awesome. Well, everybody have a lovely week. Enjoy it. I heard it's supposed to be like nice today, cold tomorrow, nice like the next day, cold again. I think Mother Nature is a little confused right now, but enjoy the rest of today at least, because it's pretty mild out there. Have a good week, guys.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you, and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.